Hello, beautiful people. I hope you're having an amazing start to the week. Today is Monday, always a wonderful day to just reflect and to think ahead and to do all of those internal work things. Not that any day passes where I wouldn't suggest that you do internal work. Today, I want to talk about why is it not working? Why is that thing not working? Whatever it is that you're trying to do, you've put all of your energy and your attention into it, and you've been growing into it, and you've been trying all of these different things, and it's just not working. The answer is going to be really irritating for some people. The answer is that there's something you haven't learned. There is something that you're supposed to learn in this process that hasn't landed for you yet. And you might be saying, but how do I figure out what that is? Well, you're just gonna have to do the inner work on it. And it can be really annoying to hear when you're on the receiving end of that. But let me give you some examples of what it could look like. So when I started my coaching journey, my focus was very much around teaching things that I had learned, which is quite common for people when most people, they want to teach things that they have learned, right? But I was teaching things that weren't really mine. I was teaching, not that they were bad teachings at all, and not that I couldn't help people at all. I help people a lot. But I, first of all, struggled to really charge for it because it didn't feel like mine, something that I was teaching that was mine. And another thing is that I couldn't really fully embody it. So I had to reach a point where I saw the value of my own internal wisdom and how I could use that to teach and coach other people before it really sat right. Before it was really, and the difference was not in whether or not I could help people, because I was still helping people. The difference was whether or not people wanted to buy from me. And the thing is, when what you're teaching is not something that you fully embody or something that doesn't really come from within, it gives this energy that what you're selling people is somebody else's. And then people would rather just go buy from that somebody else, right? The person whose it is. And this, we just gotta figure out what is that thing. And I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it because I saw other people out there who were teaching similar things and for whom it also wasn't really theirs. They were very obviously just teaching what somebody else has taught them. But there's just this energetic thing about it. I had to learn how to really look within and stop trying to teach other people. Every time I learned something and I was like, this is so cool, I wanted to teach it to somebody else, but it wasn't mine. And I didn't see the value, I didn't find the value in what was mine, because that's what we do, right? Whenever we already have something, we kind of take it more for granted. As an example, when I started learning Mandarin, I wanted to learn Mandarin so I could learn how to write those characters, right? It was the coolest thing in the planet for me. I wanted to write characters. And then I started learning Mandarin, and after a couple of years of business school where they taught Mandarin as part of that course, I could write up to, I think, something like 2,000 characters. And then other people would find that impressive. They would say, oh, you can write these. This is so cool. And I would find it so simple. I was like, what's the big deal? Because it was something that I had learned and internalized. So it was no longer something that seemed incredible and valuable. It just seemed like something else. And I was surrounded by other people who were learning the same things. So it didn't seem special. So the thing is, sometimes we don't understand the value of what we already have simply because we just have it and we've had it for a long time. So when it came to the work around programming and understanding ourselves and doing the reflective and the introspective work, simply because I had always been doing this. I have been doing this for as long as I can remember. Way before I knew that there was even a thing as personal development. I thought this was just what we did because this is something that my mom taught me growing up. she taught me these things. I thought it was as simple and as normal as learning how to read and write. That, yes, of course, there's some people that can't read and write, but everyone around me could. So I just assumed that the personal development work was so normal and so, nobody would pay for that. And it took a very long time for me to realize that there's something special here. There's something in the way that I teach it, in the way that I understand it, in the way that I communicate it, and then the way that I can hear people and their limiting beliefs and how they speak. And that had some magic. And it was like once I stepped into that fully, I gained this clarity around how do I help people. In the beginning, it's really hard. How do you describe something that's just part of you? It's like, how do you describe to someone who doesn't have a thumb what it's like having a thumb, right? Okay, maybe a thumb is easy to describe because now you can grab things that you couldn't grab before. But you get my point, right? It can be incredibly hard to describe what is the genius of something that you can't really understand the genius of because you don't know what it's like to not have it. And therefore, so many people don't understand that they have so much value because it just seems so obvious to them. I remember seeing a comment the other day. There was a woman who said something around being a homeschooling mom of like 9 kids or something crazy. She's like, I'm in my 50s now and I don't know what can I teach people. And I was like, teach people how to homeschool their kids. You know how many people want to homeschool their kids? They have no idea how to do it. But because she's just been doing it and she probably can't even tell what are the real struggles that people have because she's been doing it for so long. I should find that comment and tell her that because it was just so obvious, and for us who's in it, we don't see it. But for people who's outside of us, they can see it in a much different way. So for me, what I had to learn, the reason it wasn't working for me was because it wasn't mine. It wasn't fully authentic. It wasn't, I didn't feel there energetically. There was a misalignment that I couldn't really put my finger on, and I couldn't understand because I had never really tried anything else. I hadn't tried anything that was different. So I just kept learning new things and teaching new things, and I didn't understand why it didn't work. So whatever it is that you're doing that is not working, figure out what is it that you haven't learned from it. What is the learning that you have? And if you really sit and you understand what does it feel like when I do this thing? Is there a lot of resistance? Is there a lot of resentment? Is there a lot of frustration? Because if that's the case, then you're going to meet a lot of that as well, frustration and resentment and resistance. So how can you figure out a way to do what you're doing in a way that does not create those emotions, that aren't creating those feelings? If what you're doing is unclear, if you don't understand it, then figure out a way to gain that clarity. There's just always something. And what people tend to do is that they try something and it doesn't work. I think I maybe have frozen a little bit. You try something and it doesn't work. And then maybe you try again and it doesn't work. And you try again and it doesn't work. And it's like, okay, but then it's just not going to work for me. But that's just not how it is. Are you the same person who tried the first time? If so, you can't just say that it's not for you because you have to grow into the person who can do the thing. Did you try the exact same way but just with some different people? Maybe that's the problem. Like, what is it really that you're doing? You just gotta fine tune and change and amend and iterate and test and introspect. What is this like for me? What does it feel like? What is the value that you're creating? When you talk to the people that you're working with, because whenever we're doing something that's important, it always involves other people, right? So what is it around it what kind of feedback are you getting? What is the experience like for them? And what can you learn and how can you adjust and amend? And eventually it's going to work. Eventually there's going to work, but if it's not working, there's something you haven't learned yet. There's something that you're not seeing. And being honest with yourself and asking other people to be honest with you can be really powerful tools in this. I have some friends. I have one friend. He just loves being honest with me. Like, annoyingly so. He's always just telling me everything that's wrong and never what's right. But on the other hand, if I also know that if something is not working, I'll just tell him this thing isn't working and I don't understand why. And he's going to give me a million reasons why. And he's going to be very blunt about it. And he's not going to care about my feelings about it. And he's just going to, put it out there. And my ego's hurt every single time. But It gives me so much to introspect. It gives me so much to reflect on, because most people will just, you're great, right? Most of your friends are going to be like, you're amazing. If this is not working, then those other people are the problem, and this is the problem, and that it has nothing to do with you. But guess what? If it's not working for you, it all has to do with you. I don't know if you heard that. It always has something to do with you. So that was it for today. I'm going to close off for today. This was fun. Was this fun? I enjoyed this session. Please let me know if you have any questions or anything that you want to share. Big shout out to Victoria, who's always here supporting me in the comments, and to all the other ones who aren't writing comments but always coming to check in on me. I appreciate you so much, and I hope you have the most amazing week. Bye.